solutions are Africans themselves, and Africa's strategy is Africa. Africa's strategy is Africa, and I'm going to explain it. Then to your question, well, the book starts off with my own story. Born in a little village in the northwestern part of Cameroon called Jinqui in 1978.
Yes.
And I was born to a family of 5 siblings, and I grew up herding goats, and I went to school without shoes. And in the course of growing up and going to school without shoes, my parents told me that poverty is not a crime. And my mom and dad were subsistence farmers, and they barely survived on what they grow in a small 2, 3, 4 hectares. And they tried to sell that to send us to school.
Yes.
But it became evident that anytime we didn't have rain, then there was crop failure, and in those years there were crop failure. We will not only be affected from the fact that we will not have food, but at the same time we will not even be able to go to school. But in growing up, there was this typical African setting in my village, Jinqui, whereby we were gathered around the firesides at night and being told stories by the elders. And these stories were teaching us diligence, respect for elders, teaching us values that we need to be able to succeed. And those values were honesty, respect for one another, diligence, hard work, passion. You need to be passionate to achieve something. And that is chapter 1, as you will see it. Then that was my village life. But when you move to chapter 2, where as I grew up in the village, I've never been to the city. I had finished primary school in the village. I've never been to the city. But when I finished the primary school, I went to secondary school.
Yes.
But when I finished secondary school, my parents didn't have money to send me to high school.
Right.
And my uncle, a famous uncle of mine called Partingam, as you will see as I transition to chapter 2, and I start chapter 2 with a proverb that the doors of the elders always leave one open.
They don't close all doors.
They never close. And there I question the reality of this continent. Why should someone be leaving his or her village to be able to go to the city to study? And that this unfortunate situation should never confront any son or daughter in this continent, because we should be able to have opportunity not only in cities, but we should have opportunities right down to the grassroots in any part of the continent or country.
Yes.
And then I explained how my uncle helped me, that he paid the school fees, and I focused, and I passed the high school with flying colors just by determination. But I didn't have shoes, and I used to borrow my cousins and brothers' shoes, and then I would be beaten anytime I come back from school. And it's a painful story, but this is the essence of it, in that it doesn't necessarily matter where you come from. And then as I transitioned chapter 2 into chapter 3, which is where the real issue now comes in. At that time I had finished high school, then I've gone to the university, and my parents, my uncle didn't have the money, but I had to stay with his friend.
Yes.
And I was trekking kilometers to the university, and I was the only one in my class. I trekked those long distances, but I finished university. But when I finished university, I had to spend time volunteering. And it was during this volunteering that I did in this NGO that gave me the best lessons of my entire life that have reshaped my career today.
Yes.
But as I was studying at the university and even at high school, what preoccupied me was that anytime during holidays when I went back home, I was tutoring our family goats. And I was also helping my mom in harvesting or in tilling the farm in which she was growing. But I always noticed that she would plant some years bumper harvest, some years crop failure.
Right.
So I started to question for what is causing this, and if this is the issue, what can be the solution? And even at the university, my thoughts were always to try to find a solution so that at least my mom can continue to have bumper harvest, and that even if there was drought, she can still have bumper harvest. And that preoccupied my mind. And when I finished university and I volunteered for 1 year where my friends and colleagues were classmates will say, how can you volunteer without money? But the point is that it was that volunteerism that helped me won a scholarship to study at the University of Nottingham. Because the application for that scholarship, it needed experience. And out of the volunteering, I won a scholarship that was worth thousands of pounds. So the lesson is, if you don't volunteer for something useful, you volunteer for something useless. And there is no in between. And when you volunteer for something, you are accumulating capital. You're accumulating wealth, because wealth is not just physical cash.
Yes.
But knowledge is the biggest capital, and experience is the biggest capital, because you can use that to fetch billions of dollars in the form, in this case, I got those thousands of pounds in the form of a scholarship, which landed me to where I am today.